Hey, it's Lucas, and today we're going to be reviewing the Sugar Bomb Punch from Clearleaf. I'm going to start this video out by saying that this is some of the best medical cannabis I've had so far. It's not particularly good looking, it doesn't particularly smell or taste amazing, it just looks like real bud. When I say that, I mean if I got this on the street for my usual price, I wouldn't be disappointed, I wouldn't be absolutely amazed with it, but it's just standard. It feels to me like standard street bud. Now, if near you you've got bad street bud, then, sorry about that, but near me, I have pretty good street bud, so luckily, this is the closest that I've come to getting something that would be like if I'd got it off my guy instead of off the medical cannabis clinic. Sugar Bomb Punch is a cross between THC Bomb and then a separate plant that is Critical Orange Punch and Bubba Island Kush. This is an indica dominant hybrid, but in my opinion you do get hit with a bunch of sativa effects first and then they mellow out and then the indica effects come in. I'm going to start out with the smell. This has been in a glass jar for about 3 weeks now. The first thing I'm hit when I pop the jar is a pungence. Not really a sweetness, but a spicy pungence. When I stick my nose right in there, I do get a sweetness, but all in all, it's almost like spiced. It's not cookies because there's no cookie smell in there, but the only way that I can think to describe it is like spiced winter cookies, because I'm getting a very spicy, pungent nose sting in there. But when I do stick my nose right in the jar, I get a sweetness as well. So it's very pungent and spicy dominant, but the sweetness in there is just creeping in. It's quite nice. I'm getting a little bit of lemon in there as well. So I would say it's like sweet, spicy, pungent lemon. It's not my favorite smell. I would give it, just as the whole nugs, probably 6.5. It's all right. Also, I'm going to say this here, I think I've been very generous with my rating systems. I've always been harsh when it comes to rating. I've always said that if something is completely middle of the road, it is a 5. If it's bad, it's going to be less than a 5, and if it's good, it's going to be more than a 5. Anything, nothing gets a 10. I've been giving out 9s recently, and I really don't think that I should have been doing that, so I need to get a lot harsher. So the smell of this, it's not that good for whole nugs. I'm actually going to knock it down to just a 6. 6 is fine. It grinds down to be more dense than fluffy, but once it is ground down, oh my god, is it sweet. It smells the same as before, but it's as if the pungence has been completely lifted and just dusted in sugar. It smells, I'm getting the lemoniness and also the, how do I describe it? I can still smell the spicy pungence, but it's like the sugar has just dampened it down completely. It's almost gone. I can still get just the faintest little bit of nose sting, but it's just completely sugar right now. I much prefer it, so I'm going to bump it up to 6.75 maybe. Yeah, I don't think it's better than a 6.75. It could be a 7, but I don't feel like giving it a 7 today, so I'm just going to give it a 6.75 for the smell. Now, moving on to the looks, what I'm going to say here is probably going to get met with some criticism, but I'm going to say it anyway. This is the most natural looking medical cannabis that I've ever received. I said in the beginning, this looks like something that I would be giving on the street, not for a massive price tag, but just for my average price tag, which I'm not going to say. I'm sure I've mentioned it in previous videos. If you want to go see it, then go look for it in them, but I'm not going to talk about prices here apart from the price of the bud, which is £60 per 10 gram pot, which is very cheap. It is on the cheaper end. It's not the cheapest by any means, but for this, I definitely recommend it. My black market guy is always selling Cali. He's got fucking loads of it on his menu. Now, I don't know if it's real, hence why I don't buy it. Anytime that I have bought it, it's always been shit, so, that's why I don't buy that. But to me, his Cali looks like most of the more expensive medical bud. It's all tight, it's all rock hard and dense. Got cut off by the parcel guy there, but what I'm trying to say is I'm not really a fan of the super tightly compact, dense, rock hard looking nugs. I don't like them on black market. I don't really care for them on medical. I just want my bud to look natural. I don't want it to look old, I don't want it to look dusty orange, I don't want it to look brown and dead. I just want it to look good, and in my opinion, the Sugar Bomb Punch just looks like normal bud. I don't know whether it's because it's non-irradiated or whether it's just been grown better, but it just looks normal. Looks like normal bud. I'm going to give the looks a 7, and just purely because it looks like normal bud. I don't know how much more I can say this because I'm not too good with my words, as you already know. It doesn't look like it's been grown with PGR, and obviously medical bud is not grown with PGR because that would be stupid, but how it comes sometimes looking tight and it just doesn't look right, and I don't know if anybody else knows what I'm talking about, but I'm sure somebody out there is going to know what I mean. The way that some medical bud comes, it just doesn't look right. For example, the best looking medical that I've had was the crumbled lime 10. That looked absolutely out of this world. It looked amazing, but like the rest of it, just it wasn't there. So we need to have the looks, the smell, the taste, the non-irradiated. We need fucking everything, and this is not amazing. It's not 100% the best thing I've ever seen, but it is a big step towards getting, in my opinion, like street quality bud, because it is better rather than just the shit, dusty, dry, irradiated, old, normal looking medical bud. I don't know if that made sense, and I'm probably going to make a couple more enemies over on the UK medical cannabis subreddit, but this is my opinion on my channel, so I'm going to put it here. 7 out of 10 for the Sugar Bomb Punch looks. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, if I'm not just chatting utter shit, please leave a comment and just affirm me. Forgot to say that if you want to see what these nugs look like, click on the link in the pinned comment. That'll take you to a short showing the flower. I'm not going to be showing it in this video because I don't want it to get age restricted. I've been using this as a nighttime strain, so I've just been going straight in anywhere from 185 to straight starting at 210 and just blasting it. I'm going to be starting at 160 today to try and get some flavour, and just temp stepping all the way up to 210. The taste at 160 reminds me of super sweet vegetables, like sweet carrots or something. There's a little bit of vapor being produced, but nothing crazy. It's not bad though. At 175, I can taste a little bit of the spiciness coming through. It's still very, very sweet and still not a lot of vapor, but a little bit, it's enough, you know. I would prefer more, but it's not super bad. The flavor is interesting. It's mainly sweet, but like I said before, it's a little bit vegetal. It reminds me of sweet vegetables, like carrots, for example. And there's that little bit of hint of spiciness in my brain. Now, this is brand new. I've not thought this the entire time that I've been vaping it over the past couple of weeks, but today, to me, it's kind of reminding me of like ginger and honey on carrots. It doesn't taste like carrots, it doesn't taste like ginger, but just a little bit of spiciness right at the back of my tongue is giving me, it's just giving me sort of mixed winter / gingery vibes to it. It doesn't actually taste like ginger, it more tastes like sweet carrots in a way. But I think probably because it's getting to Christmas that my brain's thinking of that. At 185, the flavour starts to die. It starts tasting more vegetal, less sweet, and then just like vaped bud after that. You do get a decent amount of vapour all the way through, I would say. Don't expect clouds at 160. Usually don't get any vapour whatsoever, but I managed to get actually not loads like I said, but a good little bit of vapour from 160 and a nice flavour. And then at 175 it starts hitting better. You get to 185 and then it's when you start blowing clouds. It's quite nice, but it does start getting harsh after that. And the flavour after 185, again, like you carry on getting just a little bit, but it keeps degrading every 10 degrees. I was going to say every 10 steps then, but that's not what I meant. Every 10 degrees that you increase, the flavour obviously degrades, and by 185, obviously keep going if you want to keep getting medicated, but don't expect any good flavour after that. Taste, to me, I am going to give it, my brain immediately went to a 6. There is flavour, which is nice, because a lot of the time we don't get any flavour. This is non-irradiated, but to say that it is non-irradiated, there's still not a lot of flavour. I was expecting this to really punch me in the face, like no pun intended, but Sugar Bomb Punch. I wanted it to be really, really sweet, really flavourful, but it's not. It kind of just tastes disappointing, like all of the rest of UK medical. It tastes like, it just kind of tastes like burnt popcorn. It just tastes like vaped bud with a little bit of sweetness. At the beginning, I can't speak today, I can't speak any day, I don't know why I keep saying this. At the beginning of the capsule, you get, in my opinion, if I had to liken it to something, it would be sweet, oven roasted, honey carrots. Like, it's not quite that intense, but if I had to think, it's really just sort of plain, slightly sweet, vegetal taste, but if I'm gonna really try and put some flavour on it, honey roasted sweet carrots, or just sweet veg in general. It's not the best, but it's better than absolutely nothing at all. So for that, 6 out of 10 for the flavour. So moving on to the effects, the capsule's not done yet, but I started feeling it around 175 to 185. It starts with an uplifting rush of warmth and just pure like happiness. Maybe not quite as intense as just being really, really happy, but I get this. It starts sort of like almost in the pit of my stomach, but also right at the bottom of my feet. And it's a building warmth that comes all the way up like a rush. And it uplifts me and it makes me feel good. And it makes me feel a little bit giddy and a little bit giggly. And it's a very sort of sativa leaning, head rushy, but I can also feel it in my elbows type of rush. Head rushy type of rush. Yeah, that sounds great, doesn't it? But I feel great. Like, it makes me feel really, really good. It makes me feel happy, and it makes me, like, I feel like smiling, and I just feel great. Like, I feel like talking to people, I feel like doing things. Like, when I say doing things, I don't mean like physical activity like chores or the gym or work or anything like that, but I feel like I could be social. I could go for a walk, I could, you know, probably go for a skate with my friends or play video games and stuff like that. I feel like being social, I feel like being chatty, I feel like being around people. But I also, at the same time, in the same vein, I'm very happy to be by myself when I feel like this. I just feel overall just good and nice and content. And that is the beginning stages of the sugar bomb punch. That's what hits you initially, and in about half an hour's time, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, depending on how much you've smoked or vaped or, I don't know, eaten, if that's what you're into, maybe a little bit longer than half an hour, the initial sort of intense, uplifting rush of happiness, it fades. It doesn't really go away, but it fades a little bit, and you get this intense body relaxation where you can just lay there and just chill. And, you know, sometimes if I have this before bed, I can just go to bed, but what I like to do is vape 2 bowls of this on a night time, really, really get that rush of happiness and euphoria that I feel, and then, you know, sit and watch something and allow the body relaxation to really come in for a couple of hours, an hour or two, like probably no more than 2.5 to 3, because then I feel like I would have to redose. But if I have 2 bowls of this, say around 9:30 or something, or maybe a little bit later, like 9:45, 10 o'clock, I don't need to redose before going to bed. I'm good. I like to have this in the afternoon as well, just because of this rush of just feeling great. It's not racy in any way. It's not, there's no paranoia, there's nothing like that. I just feel really, really good. And that's why I like this so much, because I get both the effects that I want. I get the relaxation eventually, but what I like when I first medicate is I like an intense rush. I like to feel it behind my eyes, I like to feel it in my head mainly, and then I like it to sort of fade. Or it's almost as if, like, think of me as an egg timer, right? So like, say there's a little hole in my head, and you're gonna pour the medication in, and it fills up. So my head's full of medication, and then my neck here is the little taper did I say egg timer? I meant hourglass. That's not what I meant. I guess they're the same type of thing. An hourglass is what I meant. So it's going down the taper to the neck, and the medication is flowing down like sand into the rest of my body, and that's how it feels with Sugar Bomb Punch. The initial pouring it straight in, it fills up and is quite intense, and then as the half hour to an hour to maybe even 2 hours, whatever, is passing, it's all trickling down and it's filling up the rest of my body. And that's why I really, really like this medication. Effects wise, again, like I said, I don't want to give it a straight 10 out of 10 because it's not a 10 out of 10 for the rest of the flower, but effects wise, I'm going to give this a solid, my brain said 9, I'm not even going to give it that, I'm going to be super harsh, I'm going to give it an 8, because I really do like this, but I don't want to give it too high of a scoring because the rest of the flower is just bad. And people always say, like, why do you need your flower to, you know, look good, smell good and taste good and all that stuff? The reason is, it's just a nicer experience overall, bro. Like, if I have to get the medication in my body and I have to vape it, if I have to go through, you know, and I don't enjoy vaping, it's just not a nice experience in general. Well, that's not true, actually. This is nothing to do with the video now, just some personal opinions here. Vaping's not a bad experience when you've got some nice flower. I've got some Prosecco at the minute. It tastes absolutely fucking amazing. I put it in my vape. I had 2 capsules of it because it was that nice. And it tastes so good. It was smooth. I was so fucking high. It's just really good. But when you've got a vape flower that has no taste, it's super harsh. It makes you cough so much that you nearly throw up. It's just not a nice experience. So that is why we need good flower to taste good and look good. And when you're taking away a good chunk of the medicating properties when you're zapping this flower and taking away all the terpenes. Like, it's not just the THC that we need the fucking terpenes, and that's why it's so annoying. But yeah, Sugar Bomb Punch, even though it's not irradiated, it is lacking in terps, so it can't be a 10 out of 10. So let's jump into the rating here. The looks are gonna get, I've really been debating with myself about this. I can't remember what I said in the beginning. I think I said 6.5. I'm going to give him a 7, just because I think it just looks like normal bud. To me, it looks like I could go pick it up off the street for a regular price, which is a lot less than, well, let's actually do the math here. £60 for 10 grams, 6, 12, 18, so that's 180 for 30 grams. Take away 12, what's that, £168 an ounce? I would not pay £168 an ounce for this. It's not worth that. But if it was my regular ounce price, then yeah, I'd pay that. It's not £168, I'll tell you that right now. We're going in the right direction with this. I like that it just looks normal. It doesn't look old. It's not dusty. It's not brown. It's nothing like that. It's not super tight to a point where it doesn't look natural. It just does look like normal bud. It just looks like regular ass street bud that you would get for your regular ass price. That's not going to blow you out of the water, but it's definitely going to do the job. So yeah, for the looks, 7. I can't fault it. I feel like I'd be doing it a disservice if I rated it lower than a 7, and it's definitely no higher than a 7, so the looks are getting a 7 out of 10 from me. Smell of the whole nugs is going to get a 6. I expected them to get a whole lot sweeter after being in the jar for a couple of weeks, but they seem to have done the opposite. They've actually gotten more pungent, more nose stingy, a little bit spicier. There's definitely still sweetness in there, but it's overall more, like I just said, pungent and spicy and nose stingy, and that's not really my bag. So I'm going to give the whole smell just a 6 for the whole nugs. Then when you grind them down, they get a little bit sweeter. They still retain a little bit of that spiciness. Still not my favourite thing in the entire world. Bump it up a little bit. 6.25 for the ground down nugs, but just going to keep it as a 6 overall for the smell. Taste was really disappointing, just a straight 6. It tasted like roasted carrots when I was expecting it to taste more sweet, more fruity, more sugary, if anything. It's called Sugar Bomb Punch, but nah, just a 6. It wasn't bad. There was a little bit of flavour. Like I said, it was still kind of hard to pick out. It's really not much different taste-wise from the irradiated flower, so I don't know about that one. Just the flavour was kind of mid, you know. Like I said, I'm just going to stick to sweet roasted carrots. It's a 6. Like, it wasn't bad, depending on whether or not you like sweet vegetables or not, but just for me, 6 out of 10. Looks 6. Smell 5.5. Taste 6. So overall, for the flower, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Now, the effects are a completely different ballgame, as we all know. I really, really, really like the effects. For me, personally, I'm going to rate the effects an 8 out of 10. For me, if the flower was better, I feel like the effects would be that little bit better, and then the flower could, well, the overall thing could reach 10 out of 10, but for now, the growing and whatever else they're doing to it is just letting it down, because if I just know that if the flower was grown just normally, you know, just like a normal grow, controlled obviously, but if it was grown and not fucked with and then sold, it would be absolutely knockout. But whatever the fuck they're doing to it is ruining it completely, and I don't understand why Well, I mean, I guess I do, in a way, understand why they have to meet all the regulations and shit, but surely they can do it. Why is everywhere else's market so different to ours? Why is ours so absolute dog shit? But that's for a different video. Sugar Bomb Punch by Clearleaf. Overall, it's gotta get... I'm just gotta stick it at 6. I would get it again. It's currently out of stock, I'm sure, as I'm making this video today on the 21st of November. It's currently out of stock, or no new requests or something stupid like that, so I haven't been able to get it for December. Anyway, 6 out of 10 overall. I've kind of lost my train of thought. Now the relaxation is kicking in, and it's making it what was a boost of just mental energy, I guess, and being able to talk. It's now being overtaken by the relaxation side, and I can physically feel myself slowing down and not being able to process my thoughts and get my words out. I can never get my words out anyway, so now it's just going to get even harder. Sugar Bomb Punch, 6 out of 10. I like it. I would like it more if whatever they're doing to fuck with it, they just didn't do anymore. Because medicinally, it's very, very good, but just looking at it physically and having it in my hands, not great. So I'm going to stop talking now. If you like Sugar Bomb Punch, leave a like, leave me a comment telling me what you thought of it, tell me what I should get on my script next. Just, don't forget to subscribe, nearly forgot to say that. Subscribe for more videos. Peace.